All right, we don't have any time for edits or anything crazy. We're definitely in an emergency situation. So I'm just going to get to it. Instead of having anything prepared, I'm just going to be talking to what's really happening. In the last 24 hours, U.S. military embassies and certain bases have been notified of potential evacuation orders due to a changing situation with Tehran and the Iran situation. It does not look like a deal is going to be made, and it's starting to look more and more like some sort of escalation in the conflict is inevitable. I don't believe that's true, but it's starting to look that way. Let's talk about what's been going on the entire time. Everything is not what you think it is. You're probably only getting a certain amount of news, and you're probably, if you're, depending on what community you're a part of, you're only getting one sort of information. So in terms of what's going on with, Ukraine, global affairs, in terms of what's going on in your state, in terms of what's going on in the U.S., in terms of what's going on right now in Los Angeles, let's make a few things clear. This is, I condemn violence, all right? These demonstrations are First Amendment rights. You have the right to do that. That's absolutely true. But we have to condemn the violence. Now, that being said, I don't give a shit about property. I just don't. I'm worried about people. If human beings get hurt and people are getting, then that's a different situation. So obviously, if somebody's in a uniform and they get hurt, then obviously there's going to be escalation. So what I'm saying is, peacefully protest. As we're going into this weekend, this is going to be the largest planned protest around the country. Now, you're talking about countries, organizations and veterans protesting. You're talking about civil rights groups protesting. I understand the apprehension from the black community. I really do. I get it. And it's completely understandable. At the same time, there are lots of people, especially in the black community, that are warning the Latino community that is really divided on this particular issue, that we should have been working together for a long time. If Latinos would have got it together and worked with the black community, neither of us would be in this situation. So for those of you recognizing that you are in fact the other, the whole situation here is that this administration has never had an actual plan. They are completely full of crap. There's no grand scheme to this. They're all reacting. They're trying to do what to do. While you've been paying attention to the news and all this crazy stuff's been going on, they've been attacking law firms. They've been attacking small groups. What they're doing is throwing out big news like Gulf of America or this craziness and saying the craziest, most outlandish things so that you're distracted from one, Elon Musk and what his tweet was about with the Epstein files, and also with what's going on in terms of the small legislative moves, like, for example, that big-ass ugly bill. In that bill, there's like clauses in there that, one, take away states' rights to regulate AI. AI is the number one problem that's coming up. This is like, forget nuclear weapons. This is not something that, like, a nuclear weapon is something that human beings drop. Imagine what happens if the nuclear weapons drop themselves. That's what we're talking about. And we're talking about way worse than that. Viruses that infect computers by themselves. Viruses that can think. There's numerous problems, and basically Trump just allowed a deregulation of that from the federal level, and does not allow any of the states to actually do that. So if you're for states' rights, he just took away states' rights to protect themselves and protect their people. That being said, this has all been about slowly, methodically taking power. I said this when I said I was going to run in November, that this was going to happen. But I thought this was going to happen a lot further down the line. Why I'll tell you is exacerbated. It happened sooner because of what happened with Elon Musk. You have to understand that for Elon Musk to tweet something like that, most people are like, we already knew that. Think about that. If you already knew that Jeffrey Epstein, that Donald Trump was in those files, one, that tells you a lot about the people that voted for him. Two, understand that that's a very personal attack. There's no coming back from that. He called him a PDF file. That's the reality of the situation. So you have to realize that this is all a massive, massive reaction to that. Yes, there were protests in Los Angeles. Let's first off talk about why those protests are happening. Because they are illegally detaining people. American citizens, some of them, they're not even brown, some of them are white, doesn't matter. The problem is they instituted a quota on people that are not trained law enforcement, that are not even supposed to be. This is an illegal matter. Immigration is a civil issue. Most of these people never committed a single crime. Like, understand, how are they finding these people? At work. How are they finding these people? By waiting for them to show up to their immigration hearings or to show up to their paperwork and arresting them there. This is targeting. It's all a simple way of blaming someone else. Now it's, it's brown people and illegals, but that encompasses other people. Then it's visas that get shut down and don't allow. Then Chinese immigrants and Indian immigrants come. It's always the other person. See, it doesn't matter what it is. It's always the other. And you think it's you think it's someone else until it's you. That's the reality of the situation. We're all fighting the same people. It's the rich. Donald Trump is one of those rich people. I'm sorry that you just found that out. But here's the reality of the situation, is that you don't have to convince anybody. It's very clear he didn't know what he was doing on tariffs. He has no idea what he's doing with our U.S. allies. He has no idea on global affairs. I'll solve the war in a day. No, Putin had his number, and it now looks like so does Tehran. Nobody thinks this guy is a threat. They just think he's incompetent. And he's showing his hand. When he becomes unstable, when he becomes weak, when he looks like he has to deflect. And what does he do? Do not fall into the trap of protesting and getting violent. First off, you need to understand something. As a soldier, I'm telling you right now, those guys don't want to be there. I served in the Army for 17 years. They don't want to be there. They're tired. They're hungry. They're being treated like crap. They're under the worst conditions. They're probably not even getting paid right now. They're going to have all pay issues, I promise you. Give them some water. Give them some snacks. And just tell them that we're here for the same reason. They're violating their rights too. They're violating your rights. He's trying to push the limits of what he can do. And while people are distracted, he's going to push more and more. He's not taking the rights away from only one group. It's going to be from any and every group that he can until he gets what he wants, which is to stay in office. Now, you have to understand that a lot of people are like, yeah, he's old, he's going to die. Yes. And when that happens, who's next in line? That's even more dangerous. We have to understand that this needs to be shut down right now. Like I told you before, like I've said it a million times, I'm running for U.S. Senate because I believe that Donald Trump is going to run for a third term. I think he's going to grab as much power, and it's very evident that that's happening right now. You can see it. It's going to start happening more in every single city. He's already is already pursuing how he can enact the Insurrection Act, or how he can basically institute martial law. The real question is, how many soldiers are there out there that are actually going to follow those orders? They are not lawful, and you know it. We're getting to a point where it's going to be very difficult. I know that sounds hyperbolic. Look around. The news is coming from all different angles specifically to hide what the actual intents are, because everybody's looking in a different direction, and you'd have to be really, really keen to be paying attention to everything that's going on. Be careful. Do not get caught out there doing something. And if you even suspect something, like, we need to do this the right way. In addition to that, I want everyone to understand that we are now accepting donations, and I want everyone to know what those donations are for. Now, I'm not the type. I want everybody to understand that, like, I don't have a huge staff. I need to pay for staff, but what I really need is people volunteering to knock on doors. I'm gonna start knocking on doors and asking a grandma for $1, a couple nickels. Like, that's what we need. We need to just make sure that we do this the right way. And I believe that that's going to be such a shock to the system for a lot of these folks, because they think that their system is the only way that works. And we need to build a new one. And they need to see that. And so I encourage everyone in local elections and national, even if you're not in the state of Florida, contact me. If you're about it and we can speak and we can talk and we're on the same level, I'll campaign for you. I'll put a video out for you, a shout for you. The same way I think we need to build power. It's not about one individual. A lot of these folks, it's all politics. There's a guy that's going to announce his candidacy very soon. I'm not going to say any names, but he knows that I'm running, and he's definitely pursuing to run against me. I'm good. Let's go. Like, people are tired of the fake, and if you're running against me at this point, after I've reached out to try to help you, take a screenshot to fix that. So honestly, I think most people need to understand that this is a very delicate situation. Right? There's a lot of people that are running for politics because they think that they're the one, or they want to make a buck, or they want to write a book, or I've never in my life wanted to do this. I am doing this now because I genuinely believe that none of those people are capable of beating anything. They don't want to win. They just want to sell a book or write a story or pat themselves on the back. This is not the time for that. This is not the time for that, I promise you. As a person who's advised 4 different presidents, I'm telling you, it's not the time. So I'm telling you right now, the way that we go forward is we raise money, we put it back in the streets. I want all of my campaign funds to go to being paid, to putting food on the table for people who help out this campaign, to be put back in the streets, and to help people understand what this is about, to help people understand what it's like to help them register to vote, to help them understand what these elections are for, what we need to build the community. We can't just expect the community to come out. I'm going, like myself, I'm gonna start, I got a running vest here, and you're gonna start seeing me run around with it. And I'm gonna come from town to town and just talk to every single person that I can. We don't have to do it the way that they do it. That's in their system. I think a lot of people understand that the only way that this works is from outside. So at the same time, be safe out there. Please bring some water, bring some snacks, hand them out. Like, take care of those service members out there, and they'll take care of you. That's the truth. Don't hurt anybody, and nobody's gonna hurt you. Those guys don't want to be there. Same thing with cops. If you don't do that, there are people that are exacerbating the situation. You can see them. There are some police officers that are gonna exacerbate. There are some ICE agents that are definitely gonna exacerbate the situation. More than likely, the least likely to do that will be one of these soldiers or one of these Marines. I guarantee that. But every now and then, there's somebody. Just be mindful. Just be careful, everyone. It's a delicate situation, and I'm saying this from the heart. Like, it's very difficult. All of this it's not going to get better in the short term. It's definitely going to get worse, and people need to start preparing themselves for that. Food prices are going to go up. Expenses, how much you get paid, even if your pay goes up, the dollar will be worth less than it was a day before. Everything is going to get more difficult as time progresses. And it's unfortunate, but it is the truth. And I don't want to sugarcoat anything. It's definitely going to get worse. But if we band together, that's all right. I said something the other day to a soldier who just recently enlisted, and I was honest about it. She had mentioned that she was going to a base that she wasn't really excited about. And I mentioned that in my experience, the worse the location, the better the unit, because people tend to stick together. And so in the worst of times, people tend to stick together. If you look at, there's a thing, recession pop. If you look at music, it tends to get better. If you look at struggle and pain create good art, create movements. And we've just been dealing with a world that's been tainted by the internet. And we haven't been using it correctly. I think we've monetized everything. You look at YouTube, and I wish I could go to YouTube and see somebody's page and see videos and pictures of a person that maybe is no longer here, and I could, look back at that. And instead, everything's a commercial. Everything is something that we sell. Everything is something that we're reviewing. We have people reacting to reactions to reactions. We have really jumped the shark here, nuked the fridge, or whatever term you want to use for going too far. We've gone too far. And I think that the simple solution is just to slowly move back. We need to slowly start buying products that last longer. Getting handmade shoes, handmade clothes from businesses. We need to learn to start doing things a little more analog. That doesn't mean get off the internet. That doesn't mean but we need to learn to self-sustain, because we've been relying on Amazon to just deliver whatever you need, and that's not going to be there. It's not. Or it's only going to be there for a select few. So, in all honesty, the main focus of this is going to be to preventing legislation moving forward, to preventing, them from passing legislation that allows them to grab more power. Also, preventing people from being taken from their homes, protecting people that need to be protected, being helped out, making sure that folks who need to be escorted to their hearings or anything like that, that we need to do what we need to do, so that way somebody's not being abducted, that somebody isn't being tricked. And you get somebody that walks up to you and they're asking you some funny questions, don't trust it. We need to stick together so that way we know who to trust. So that when we go into a neighborhood, when I was growing up, I lived across the street from the 42nd Precinct in the South Bronx. You would think that would make the neighborhood safer. Not really, but at least everybody in the neighborhood knew each other. So if somebody came onto that block that we never knew before, somebody would yell, hey, who are you? So there was always eyes in the community. It was like, the old ladies who watch everything, like in the Amazon commercials. But that's a real thing that doesn't exist anymore. We don't have a lot of these traditions. And I understand that those are, antiquated ways. Let's make some new traditions. Let's make some new things. That's what I think that we're missing out on. Every generation has had things that identify them, whether it was style, music, all of these things that we're able to see what that generation looks like. And now it's just blending into this one mass thing, and everyone seems lost. Ultimately, I keep hearing everyone say that they're waiting for someone to step up. They're waiting for someone to do something. That's why I'm here, because I was waiting for somebody. I've been waiting for a real long time. And I woke up, I realized that person's not coming. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to save the day. There is no one hero that just stands up and makes it all better. That's not how it works. We all do it. Maybe one person gets highlighted a little more. Maybe one person starts the chain. One person stands up, another person stands up, a third person stands up, and the next thing you know, everybody does. It starts with one person just stands. I just said it upon myself. Hey, maybe I'm the person that just inspires the next person. Maybe that's the one. Beat me. I believe that we are in a moment. And I'm not kidding. This is an emergency. And I think a lot of people are just, if you've been seeing what's going on, what more evidence do you need? We've lost compassion. We've lost human decency. We've gotten to a place where even though this country's always had its issues, it seems unrecognizable right now. And this is only the first year in this presidency. Think about how long the past 100 days have been. I promise you recognize that a lot of these people, they're not doing what they need to do. They're only concerned with raising money. And that's why I tell you, like, it's really hard for me to sit here and do that, because people keep asking, where does the money go? And it's true. They have no answer for you. They're going to tell you $100,000 to recreating a set for a podcast instead of getting on a Zoom call on that podcast, or just getting on the, what are we talking about here? Thousands, millions of dollars spent on trying to figure out how to talk to men. Millions of dollars on statistics. Go and talk to your constituents. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to every city commission, every city hall, every single state representative, every single person that I can talk to, every national representative. Just talk to them and ask them why they're doing what they're doing. Why are you supporting this? Are you serious? Like, I'm not being hyperbolic, not here to, there's no gotchas. There's no catch-alls. Serious. As an American, how can you do, as a human being, how can you be okay with this? It's one thing after another. I'm asking you, how can you be okay with one of these things? And yet, there's so many of them. If you can be okay with even one of these things, there's a problem. And so all of us, you need to unite and understand that there's at least one of these things that are wrong. All of them are. But at least one of these things affects you directly, and we need to unite together. I'm asking you, please, go to prcruz.com, $1, $2, 50 cents, man. Anything you can donate. Go on indivisible.us, and I'm going to be posting times where you can knock on doors. If you can't yourself donate, you can put some time. Maybe you can make a phone call and ask somebody, go next door, ask your neighbor and say, hey, look, this person is running for office. And like I said, I'm not going to be one of these politicians who waits to announce things the right way. We don't have time for any of that. I'm being completely transparent with everyone. I'm running for president in 2028, and I'm running for U.S. Senate so that way I have a viable candidacy. So that way I can show everybody what I intend to do and that we're serious. I believe that an upset like that would make a huge case for that. So, like I said, please, if you can, donate $1, donate your time, or at least share one of these videos and share it with somebody else. But I'm going to be putting out more content a lot more often, but as you know, I try to keep this down because I want to make sure that anybody that helps me is taken care of. I'm not going to ask anybody to go and volunteer for me, and I can't put food on their table. I'm asking them to do something that takes an hour away from their job or an hour away from their kids. I won't do that. I will do all the work that I have to until I can afford to do that, and then we'll do that. I'm not paying any crap consultants to tell me how to talk to people. I'm just going to go ask you. I'm not changing anything about myself because a consultant tells me that I should wear a flannel shirt so I look more approachable. I don't need to look human. I am human. I don't need to look like anything. My history is all online. I have nothing to hide. Reach out, DM me. Everything's online. So I'm not concerned with any of that. I'm not concerned with any of the old rules of politics. I'm here to fight. And I know that anybody that wants that, you know where to find me and you know what to do. Thank you. God bless. And even if you don't believe in God, we all need something. So whatever it is, America, you're not alone. You're not alone.